What's up, my friends? My name is Christopher Grant Ward. I'm from Dream Tech, and today is another Tech Tuesday. And today, we're going to talk about podcasts, and specifically, how you can use a podcast to promote a timely event, say a webinar or an in-person speaking event that you have coming up in a couple of months. Well, what do you do when you publish a podcast online and then the event happens and you want to take down that information so that you're not confusing your audience? Well, using a dynamic ad on lots of these new platforms allows our clients to promote timely events in a very efficient way. It also allows them to change out their intros and outros as credits and other information change. And it allows the podcast itself to not be so hard-baked into the system. So today what we're going to do is walk through what a dynamic ad is, how you can use it, and some of the platforms that are offering this new technology. So follow along. So dynamic ads are actually pretty common, although a lot of people don't know about them, even if they use a platform that actually has them included. When people think of ads for podcasts, they usually are thinking, oh, another brand or company can promote on my podcast, and I don't really want that to happen. Well, that's actually not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is your own content, your own promotional content that you can actually put inside of a podcast. And you've seen this happen before. Say 10 minutes in, all of a sudden there's a pause, and the same person says, hey friends, just want to let you know about X, Y, and Z. It's a special offer that I have for the month of May. Now back to the show type of thing. Well, how do they do that? Well, they're using one of these platforms right here. Just a quick Google search shows a number of these platforms, some of them that we use with our clients, Podbean, Captivate, Libsyn, also Buzzsprout, RedCircle, and a number of others are doing dynamic ads. So you may already have this feature or technology, and if you don't, you may want to look into one of these other platforms, especially Spotify for podcasters. We love Captivate. These platforms work really well for allowing you to create these sort of dynamic ads. So next, we're going to go into Captivate, which is our sort of tried and true system, and show you exactly how this works. Okay, here we are inside of Captivate, and we love this platform for producing and distributing podcasts. It has a great user interface. Great tech support, great customer service. If you're looking for a new place to host your next podcast, I highly encourage you to check this out. And we have no affiliation with this company. We just love it. I'm in Tosca's account for her podcast, Manager on a Mission. And if you haven't heard it, it's a wonderfully written podcast about management, leadership, and the modern corporate workplace and how we can solve some of the problems that we face when we're working inside of corporate environments. If that sounds interesting to you, I highly encourage you to check that out. But for now, let's go look at how Tosca uses dynamic ads inside of her own podcast. Okay, so here I am inside of one of the detail pages for one of Tosca's most recent episodes. And if you scroll down to the second section here, you actually see this area that's called dynamic content and ads. And ads is a little misleading because it isn't ads from third-party brands that are advertising on your site. It's actually your own content that you can put onto your podcasts. So let's see how this works. So you actually have three options. You have pre-roll, mid-roll, and post-roll. And effectively, this is kind of a holdover from television broadcasting, but it really just means before your podcast, in the middle of your podcast, or at the end of your podcast. So very, commonly the end of the podcast, you would have like a pre-recorded credits that talk about who graded the music and who did the mixing and all of those things. And it could be added at the end of your podcast. And this could actually be added to all of your podcasts simultaneously. And if you wanted to change it, it would automatically update not just your future podcasts, but all the ones in the past. So this is super powerful. So if you have a change in copyright or production team, you can update all of your podcasts regardless of when they were recorded. You can also do things at the beginning of your podcast in the pre-roll area. So you could have sort of like a heads up that there's a new promotion, or, check this out, or, check out the show notes afterwards, type of thing. Or if you have like a correction or an update that you want to make, you can put that in at the beginning so people know before they listen. Again, super powerful. And also, I think the coolest place to do this is in this sort of mid-roll, which is effectively, I want to choose a place inside of the middle of my podcast content. I want to stop that audio, insert some new audio, say about, hey, everyone, this is Tosca, and I'm going to be speaking at an event in Los Angeles. If you're in the area, click the link in the show notes below to get free tickets to my event. Okay, let's get back to the show. That type of thing happens a lot in podcasts, and this is how you do it. So this is basically a representation of the audio of the entire podcast. And you can sort of hear where you are. So you can hear it playing.
I was excited for this.
You can choose a spot.
I did all the
insert
blood work. I hadn't done that.
And then once you know where you want it to be, you can grab this and say, I want to put this ad right here. And you can zoom in so you can really figure out exactly where you want it to go. And once you have that marked, you can then add a piece of content that you either upload or you already have in your library to this spot. And then once you save it, in about 10 minutes, it'll be rendered everywhere. And in about 30 minutes, it'll be redistributed to Spotify and Apple and all the other platforms. So it'll automatically update everywhere. Super powerful, right? Like, so if you had an event in May and it's March right now, you could start promoting it. And then when May rolls around, what do? Well, you actually just can change that content or delete it, and it'll actually just remove it from all of your podcasts, all the podcasts in the past, any of them in the future. What we like to do, though, is kind of save those insertion points and change out the content every quarter. So maybe this quarter it's a live speaking event. If you don't have something on the books, you can just promote, I don't know, a free offer or a webinar that you have coming up, or just something sort of standard and evergreen that can be a placeholder. So when you want to change this content out, you don't actually have to go to each podcast and change it. You can just change it once and it populates it everywhere, and then it populates it everywhere on Apple, Spotify, and all over the web. So with one system and one platform with this sort of dynamic ads, you can actually be constantly updating the information that you're giving to your audience about what you offer, where you're going to be, and how they can get in touch with you. And we think that dynamic ads are one of the best ways to get customers from your podcast and convert listeners into people who are actually going to work with you by drawing them into your funnel. And this is a great way to do it. Okay, I know that was a really quick overview of dynamic ads, but I hope even that inspired you to maybe consider using them for your next podcast episode, and also for your entire back catalog, so that anyone listening to any of your episodes can get the most up-to-date information about your business. And if you don't have a podcast already, this is just another reason to do so. You can actually use podcasts to promote not just your overall message, but timely events and offers that you can actually give to people who are listening and turn them into customers. So it's super powerful. And if you ever have any questions about anything about podcasts, anything from music and mixing to distribution and production, we're here to help you. You can book a tech therapy session with us in the footer of the website. You can also just email me at christopher@dreamtechbff.com. This has been another Tech Tuesday. I hope it's been helpful. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. All right, bye.